Why communication is the number one marriage skill. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jaquan, and on this channel here, we discuss various topics that help men prepare for marriage. Listen, without further ado, we're just gonna jump right into this episode. So, fellas, marriage lives and dies with communication. Learn how to communicate with your wife so that you build trust, intimacy, and respect. Avoid the mistakes that most men make when it comes to communicating with over talking and not being able to listen. Disclaimer, I'm not going to tell you that I have mastered this 100%. There are still times where my wife says I could have said things a little bit better, says I could have listened a bit more instead of being defensive, and even has addressed my tone and the way in which I've spoken to her. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not an abusive person, but there are times when we need to check ourselves and just make sure that we are communicating effectively. Okay, just because you're talking doesn't mean that you're communicating effectively. In my new book that I dropped on April 1st, hey boss, just real quick. You are about to make the biggest decision in your life. Why not go into that decision being properly prepared? Listen, you got to get my book so you could be prepared and lead your queen correctly. God bless. There's about 4 or 5 things that I talk about to help men address communicating with their spouses. One of those things is, how do you communicate and how do you like to be communicated with? That's a very important thing to understand because this thing goes 2 ways, right? There's a way in which you want to be talked to, and then there's also a way in which, like, how you communicate. Everybody has a style, but what I will tell you is you may have to adjust your style based on your spouse. Maybe you used to talk this way, but maybe you might need to switch it up just a little bit. Another thing is, consider the best way to speak to your wife. Again, got to look at it this way. We can say that women can be emotional. Maybe that's true, but we still have to consider the best way to speak to our wives. That's one of the things I say, that as a husband, I want to make sure that I'm doing correctly. And I've even been talked to about this, that is something that I need to consider. Consider that you could have said that in a different way. Consider that your tone might have been a bit too aggressive. Understand also, the third thing is that your communication builds trust. The one thing that you want to make sure that you're able to do is help your wife to feel comfortable, to feel like she's protected with you, and to feel that she can come and she can talk to you. That's a level of intimacy that I think we don't understand. Communication. Okay. So understand that because communication builds trust, we have to make sure that we are aware that sometimes the way we communicate can really be detrimental in how we build trust or break trust. All right. Another thing you want to do is consider how you communicate. There's 4 styles and ways in which we all communicate, right? Here are 4. Are you assertive? Are you aggressive? Are you passive? Or are you passive aggressive? Being assertive is when you're expressing yourself open and honestly, but you're doing so in a respectful manner with your wife. Being aggressive oftentimes gets misconstrued. It is not the same as being assertive. Being aggressive could be what we could end up saying can turn into being verbally abusive. We want to stay away from that. Being passive is another thing that you want to stay away from, because what that means is you're not being the man that you need to be to address things in effective communication so that you can get through things. Lastly, being passive aggressive, okay? Saying things without saying things. That's not the way to go either, because that's beating around the bush. So again, consider how you communicate. Last but not least, remember that women communicate very differently from men. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying Mars. I'm not saying Venus. All I'm saying is that we communicate differently. You have to take that into consideration. You have to make the adjustment. You could say something that you don't necessarily think is being aggressive. She may take it that way. You may need to make an adjustment. She may need to make an adjustment. But as a man, you are the head, you are the lead, and it starts with you. We just covered why communication is the number one marriage skill. You want to make sure, fellas, that you are communicating effectively with your wife so that as you progress throughout the years, you guys are being able to build trust, build confidence with each other, build intimacy, and build respect. Hey, again, my name is Jaquan, and I will ask that you consider subscribing to our channel for more advice on how to prepare for marriage.